All right, guys, so today in front of me from Barrell Craft Spirits, I am revisiting their Barrell Bourbon New Year's Batch 2022. So each year, Barrell Craft Spirits releases a New Year's bourbon to toast to the new year. And this is where Barrell really takes their blending abilities and puts it into a bottle. So this has blends from Tennessee, Indiana, Kentucky, Ohio, Wyoming, New York, and Texas. It's non-age stated, but some of the ages of the whiskeys that are in here: 5 years, 6 years, 7 years, 9 years, and 14 years. Again, this is MSRP is for around $85. And the proof on this guy is 115.34 proof. Definitely excited to get into this one. Like I said, I never did a formal review. I wanted it to open up a little bit. Excited to let you guys know my thoughts, guys. So without further ado, let's go. All right, guys, let's go ahead and get a nose on this one. Yeah, first thing is just this really rich caramel. I pick up this like carameled raspberry. Like first thing that I got on the nose. There's a lot of orchard fruits on this one. I do pick up some like red apple, like I said, some raspberry, nice, really just savory kind of like this caramel richness. Yeah, that caramel is just so sweet. It's rich. You know, a little bit of that like caramel apple vibe to it. And it's almost like a like there's some red fruits in there, like I said, that raspberry, but it's like a sour apple, but just like a carameled sour apple. Really nice sweet oak on it. You do pick up. It seems like you do pick up a little bit of the age on some of that stuff. Again, there are some younger whiskeys in here, 5 years, 6 years, but there are some older whiskeys in here as well, some 9 years and some 14 years. Nice like sweet oak on the nose though. I do pick up some baking spices in there, a little bit of like some cinnamon, some paprika there, a little bit further into the glass. Seems like the sweetness is a little bit further away. Some of those baking spices and darker, the darker notes are a little bit further into the glass. Also picking up like a little bit of almost like there's some cinnamon in there. This like I said, some paprika, but there's like this almost like a slight like tobacco note to it, like a sweet tobacco mixed with that kind of sweet oak there on the nose. Yeah, I'm really glad I let this one open up. Really nice nose on this guy. Let's get into the palate, guys. Cheers. Yeah, so on the palate on this one, definitely some, like I said, some of those orchard fruits. You start to evolve there. You do pick up some rye spices on the front and the middle of the palate. Just a little bit of that, just some like tingling on the tongue from the rye spices, not the actual flavor itself from the rye. But again, like I said, like on the nose, there was that sweet oak. I definitely get that sweet oak from the middle of the palate and then into the finish. There is a darkness to it. I pick up like a little bit of a fig there as well into the back of the palate. Like I said, mixed with that, some of those, rye spices and a little bit of cinnamon there on the palate. There's like, it's a sweet and they're spicy. There's a little bit of savory in there. Pretty nice first sip, guys. Let's get in the second one. Yeah, so that sip changed completely. So, front of the palate, you get this like vanilla caramel. It's almost like a Cracker Jack on the front of the palate. Middle of the palate, those like I said, those orchard fruits start to pick up there a little bit. You do get like a sour apple a little bit, but then there's like this like salted caramel mixed with that sour apple picking up there on the palate. A little bit, like I said, some cinnamon there on the middle of the palate, kind of flowing through with some of that sweet oak there into the finish. It's a medium to long finish, little more on the medium side. But yeah, the front of the palate, like I said, that vanilla caramel kind of sweetness there. It's like a salted caramel, and then you start to pick up some of that apple. There's a little bit of like raspberry in there too. On the front of the palate, and then in the middle of the palate, like I said, you do get a little bit of that rye, flowing through into the finish. You do get some of that sweet oak that kind of flows through a little hint of like some white pepper there as well. I think it's delicious. Again, this is where they kind of take those blending abilities. You have 7 different states of whiskeys in here, and then you have all those different age-stated whiskeys that are in here as well. But this is what Barrell just exceeds at, is their blending abilities. They really set the bar when it comes to blending these whiskeys. Let's get into the last sip, guys. Cheers. Yeah, so again, like, this one is definitely, in my opinion, I think this is definitely complex. There's a lot going on this one. I pick up, 2 different notes that I didn't before. I do pick up a little bit of honey sweetness there on the front of the palate with that, like, Cracker Jack note. And then like, towards the back a little bit, like with some of that sweet oak, I do pick up like a clove, like a very, very slight hint of clove there on the finish, on that sweet oak, white pepper, a little bit of clove there on the back of the palate into the finish. That like salted caramel, green apple note there that sits there on the front or the middle of the palate is just, it's really, really good. Just all over the flavor wheel on this. When you get some of that sweet, you get some of that spice. You start to pick up some, a little bit like some earthy notes there as well. Not necessarily saying that's like youthful notes, but a little bit like earthiness there. There's just a lot going on. There's a lot going on in this bourbon here. Again, 7 different states whiskeys, and then all those different age stated whiskeys, 5, 6, 7, 9, and 14 years. You're bound to get a ton of different flavors on this. Again, my overall thoughts on this. I'm glad I let this open up. I did have some, prior to doing this review. I think it needed to open up a little bit more. And I'm glad I let it, because I think it's absolutely fantastic. Again, just tons of flavors. Again, you get the sweetness and the spice, and there's some savory in there, at least a little bit of earthy notes in there. Just an outstanding New Year's batch here from Barrell Craft Spirits. So I want to thank you guys for tuning into this episode of Dusty Dan's Whiskey Reviews. And again, I want to send a big thank you over to the team at Barrell Craft Spirits for this, for the end of the year gift that they had sent out. I'm very gracious for that. So thank you to the team over at Barrell Craft Spirits. Again, guys, just, this one is definitely complex. I think, for anyone who does have this or looking to get it, again, it's at an $85 price point. What I think you get out of that is it's quality stuff. They take blending to the next level. Again, there's 7 different states whiskeys that are in this bottle. Again, with various different age statements. The 5, 6, 7, 9, and 14 years. But their abilities to blend and marry these bourbons and whiskeys together is just it's second to none. They really do take things to the next level. I'm very surprised at this one. I think the flavors they continue to evolve as you continue to sip this. Again, I got a lot of different flavors, not only on the palate, but I also got a lot of different aromas there on the nose. So hats off to Barrell Craft Spirits for a fantastic 2022 New Year release, guys. So if you're looking for more reviews like this, make sure you guys hit that subscribe button, bell notification to be alerted of any upcoming reviews or live streams. You also find me on Instagram at Dusty Dan's Whiskey Reviews. And until next time, guys, stay dusty.